There's something going on. Crowd loving it. It's a ball, fly ball. Home run!
3, 2, 1. Obviously, both in a fantasy pool that I'm winning. So just let's start that off. Let's start off that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, Ryan, maybe we want to ask you some questions. We can go over some races that's going on.
All right. Well, let's start with the wild card race in the American League. Now, going into this is not what I think a lot of people, the way this is shaping up, is not what a lot of people expected. The top 3 teams in the wild card: Oakland, Baltimore, Tampa Bay.
It's clearly not what people thought. I mean, Baltimore, I think, is still surprising people. With a minus 29 run differential, that's not easy to go by. But, I mean, they have played, 140 games at this point. They have a winning percentage of 5.57 going into tonight's action. That's a great record. Now, do I think they can hold off the Angels, the Rays? No. Going down the stretch, I think September really is going to go down to a 3-team race: Oakland, Tampa Bay, and the Angels. Tampa Bay has the pitching. Oakland's a little young, but man, they've been great. And obviously, I'm an Angel fan, and I think the Angels, if they can maintain their pitching right now, I think they have a great shot as well.
Well, that goes towards sort of my next point was when you have those 3 teams. Tampa Bay, I guess, is not so much a surprise there. They were talked they could have taken the division.
Well, they were great last year too. You got to remember that.
Exactly. So I kind of am surprised to see Tampa Bay on the outside looking in, if you will, at the wild card. But the Angels are there, are not, in winning that division. They're close, but Boston as well is way out of it. And I guess Detroit was supposed to be contending for that, if not running away with the Central.
I would suggest at this point Detroit is still in contention, but not for the wild card. I would say that they need to win against Chicago, and luckily they play Chicago currently right now. They lost the first game, but if they win the next 3, then they'll be right back in that. The wild card is very difficult to gain any sort of momentum. When you're sort of behind teams that are also very good, it's very difficult to gain any sort of position in terms of ranking. Being 3.5 behind the Angels, 4 behind the Rays, and they're not even leading the wild card, not a good enough margin 3 weeks ago in the season to sort of catch. Now, if they catch on fire, maybe, who knows, they have a chance. But I would say Detroit's chances now of making the playoffs, which are still good because they're in a division that's a little bit weaker in the Central.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you said about them catching on fire, they've lost 4 straight, and they're 4-6 in the last 10, so they're not on fire right now. Switch to the West here. You've got Atlanta and St. Louis. Well, not tied, but they've got the 2 wild card positions that are available there, and you've got Dodgers and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, to me, is still a story, being where they've been all year long, and you've got Philly right there as well, which is starting to come back, like you said.
I think Atlanta's pretty much locked up the top spot now. St. Louis only holds a 1-game lead over the Dodgers at this moment. St. Louis is stereotypically a team that's very hot in September. As we head into they're 4-6 in their last 10. That doesn't bowl too well. Pittsburgh was a great story early on in the season, but they've gone 2-8 in their last 10 and lost 4 in a row. Run differential +2 doesn't really bowl too well. 2.5 back, anything's possible, but 72 and 68 is not a great record. I probably look at them hovering around the 500 mark. I see Atlanta and St. Louis probably getting in there. The Dodgers clearly have star power, but without, there's a reason they have the star power, that they were traded there because they weren't producing. Teams like Philadelphia and Milwaukee are very interesting. They're only 1 game below 500. They're only about 5 games out of the wild card against St. Louis. Now, that doesn't mean that either one of those teams can do it. Like Detroit in the American League, they're 5 games out. I think the difference is that Philadelphia specifically have the pitching staff to make a run. So their pitching staff goes to, they're supposed to pitch like, they have a shot at catching St. Louis. I actually think their pitching staff's better than the Dodgers and Pittsburgh, for that matter. I think Pittsburgh's time is a few years from now. I think they're close. I'd be very excited if I was a Pirates fan. I think they're a very exciting team. But I really believe that this race is now down to Atlanta's in already, so it's 1 spot going for St. Louis, LA, and Philadelphia, and a sneaky eye on Milwaukee.
Well, and one thing you mentioned those teams, you look at the MLB National League, I mean, look at those teams there you were talking about. I mean, Philly, like you said, their pitching staff has been, Halliday's not been himself. That's a bunch of old teams there, right? Atlanta, St. Louis, Dodgers, Pittsburgh.
Well, Atlanta was considered an older team, but now they're actually a very young team, and their depth and their farm system is very well represented on their team now and in the minor leagues. I think they're a team to be reckoned with for years to come. St. Louis has retooled themselves after losing Pujols and a couple of other big-time players.
Philly's pitching staff is over.
And Philly's pitching staff is great. Now that Howard and Ali are back, it does give them a little more punch. Now, saying that, they are a -10 run differential for the year. However, they have got 8-2 in their last 10, and they have won 5 in a row. I mean, if you're going to make a run, this is the time to do it. I'm not suggesting they will make the playoffs, but that would be the team I would keep an eye on to make a run late in the season, solely based upon Halladay, Lee, Hamels as a solid 3-man rotation. If they can get 2 wins each, that's a lot of wins. I mean, that gets them over the 500 mark and closer to the playoffs.